Hey, welcome to Beyond the Forecast. Jeff Edmondson here. We're going to do a special edition episode of Beyond the Forecast for this day because it's a week since I've been to the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at Wallops Island, and it was really fun, and I got some extra stuff for you. That was the whole goal. Of course, we had our piece that we had on TV, but there was also some extra things that we can't squeeze into that minute-and-a-half story, that minute-and-a-half package that we put on TV. So I'm first going to show you that video and that package of the things in case you missed that, and then we're going to show you some of the extra long interviews from Ted Mercer, who is the CEO and the one in charge that keeps an eye on everything going on at the spaceport, and also from Sir Peter Beck, who is the CEO and founder of Rocket Lab. Great people that both talked to both of them. So we're going to show you all of that. Let's first start with the story that we had last week on Wavy, and then we'll show you some of that bonus stuff.
Get ready to look up because rocket launches are about to become a regular occurrence at Wallops Island. Our chief meteorologist, Jeff Edmondson, brings us the ribbon cutting for the newest launch pad at Virginia's spaceport and what it means for future launches.
We're at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, otherwise known as Mars, standing next to Launch Complex 3, the home for Rocket Lab's newest rocket, the Neutron, which will be the largest rocket to ever launch from this spaceport.
This is a total game changer. And it's because of that that the Commonwealth of Virginia continues to not just be a supporter, but we are marching arm in arm with NASA, with Wallops, and with Rocket Lab. 3, 2,
1. Rocket Lab is no stranger to Virginia. The first rocket they launched from Wallops was in January of 2023. The new Neutron rocket is a medium-lift vehicle, meaning it can carry close to 30,000 pounds into orbit. And it will also be the first reusable spacecraft to launch from this spaceport.
So there's a barge that we've aptly named Return on Investment that's just off the coast, and the stage one goes through a suborbital ballistic arc, and we land back on that barge. The barge comes back in here, and we offload the Neutron vehicle, and it goes straight back on the pad. We're trying as hard as we can to get this on the pad by the end of the year and get it away. It's a rocket program, so we always caveat that with it's a rocket program.
With this recent expansion, the Virginia Spaceport is now able to launch a variety of rockets from its multiple launch pads.
And for the first time in history of any spaceport in the country, Pad-0A will be launching 2 different kinds of rockets from 2 different customers off the same pad. It's greater economic development and assured access to space for this country, fulfills our ability now to fully be a complete backup to Cape Canaveral. We now have the ability to launch small, medium, and large payloads to orbit.
The first launch to space from this pad will be happening soon, and with a rocket that's 141 feet tall and 23 feet wide, it's going to be quite a sight as it's going into the sky. We'll keep you up to date on when that launch will happen. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jeff Edmondson, 10 on your side.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to show you that. I'm back here, but a lot of things to unpack in that story because we heard from Ted Mercer talking about the Pad-0A, where 2 rockets were launched from that. We're going to talk about that and show you some of the views from that later on because that's exciting. But this is, first of all about Launch Complex 3, or as the Virginia Spaceport Authority knows it by, as Pad-0D. So this is a pad that was started to be built about 2 years ago. It was quick to build this thing. At first, it was just essentially a field. We're going to get to this graphic in just a little bit, but I just want to show you this image. That area in the foreground there, where you see that rock jetty in the sand ahead or in front of that white water tower, that water tower is for the other launch pads for Pad-0A. That rock jetty in the sand, that's basically where this new pad was built. So you can see this picture from just a couple of years ago shows a sandy field, and now we have an entirely new launch pad in that facility. So it's really cool and amazing how fast they were able to build this. So this is going to be a new rocket, the Neutron rocket that's going to be launching from Wallops Flight Facility. Now, looking at some of those notable rockets, again, we have the Electron rocket. That's from Rocket Lab. That's that small black one that we see there that has a diameter of 3 feet and 11 inches or the height of 59 feet. The one that you probably have seen the most, not as often, maybe once or twice a year, but the one that you've seen if you live in Virginia Beach, the one that you see if you live on the Outer Banks, and you can clearly see the bright engines as it's ascending through the atmosphere, that is the Antares rocket. Now, there's a new version of that that's being worked on right now with new engines, so that is coming soon. And then also coming soon, of course, but sooner, is Rocket Lab's Neutron. This will be the largest rocket to ever launch from the spaceport. And this rocket will have a height of 141 feet and also a diameter of 23 feet. So this thing is going to be huge as this thing ascends into the atmosphere and goes into the sky, because it'll have a larger payload. You can just see it's not twice as wide as the Antares, but it's certainly a much larger rocket that's going to be going up. So I got the booklet here. This is the booklet that I got from that big media day. They had a lot of people there. It was nice. They had it really set up nice. But there's 9 Archimedes engines that are going to be using to propel this on the first stage. And then on the second stage, which is the second part, so the first stage will come back down to get reused. Second stage will continue going its way into space, kind of like how the Antares does. There's 2 stages. That second stage will have 1 engine on a methalox. So both are methalox. So I believe it's liquid oxygen and methane, which could be a really cool view because the color of it may not be as yellow as we've seen from the previous engines that have launched from there. We'll see what happens. I haven't seen a methalox engine launch with my own eyes. I've heard it can be a little bit more of a bluish tone. Anyway, let's take a look at that video. This is from their launch of that, or a test, I'm sorry, not launch, but this is their test stand, and you can see the engine firing up right there. And the camera tries to, I think, do a little bit of auto exposure and a little bit of white balance. It certainly looks mostly yellow from what I see, but it almost looks like there's some greenish hue in it at the end when the engine is up. So this is from their test bed, I believe from Stennis Center is where they did this. This is really kind of cool to see. So there's going to be 9 of those things sending this rocket up into low Earth orbit. So it's going to be quite a sight to see that. So that's the engine. That's a look at the overall view, and coming up in just a little bit, we're going to take a look at the extended interviews from Ted Mercer and also from Sir Peter Beck. So we'll be right back in just a little bit. Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. So we've been talking on the special edition episode all about the new launch pad, Pad-0D, at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, Wallops Island. This is going to be exciting. We might get a launch that happens later this year, but let's not speculate anymore. I had a couple of minutes to talk with Sir Peter Beck. Let's show you that. So what's timeline? Timeline for Neutron. When can we see this rocket launch?
Yeah, look, we're trying as hard as we can to get this on the pad by the end of the year and get it away. It's a rocket program, so we always caveat that with it's a rocket program, but the team is working so hard, as you can see, to make sure we get one away.
And why is Neutron important to Rocket Lab?
Well, I mean, if you look at medium-class lift, there's really one very successful player, and there needs to be a little bit of competition brought to that market. And our government customers, our commercial customers, continually ask us to provide that capability. So that's really important to provide additional lift to the world, really. And then for our company, we have aspirations, ultimately to deploy our own infrastructure. So having your own multi-ton class, lift launch vehicle gives you a lot of options to do a lot of really exciting things in space.
And why is the reusability of Neutron important?
Well, I think it's been absolutely proven that reusability is the way forward. We embarked on a small reusability program with Electron, and we learned a lot. We shook a lot of things down, the economics of it just make total sense. So when we embarked on developing Neutron, it was there was no discussion around whether it would be reusable or not. In fact, we started Neutron on a whiteboard, and it was really, the reason why it looks different is it's designed to go down just as much as it's designed to go up. And we're able to have a clean sheet of paper and trade in all the ideal reusability constraints that you would want to have. So I think what we're going to bring to market and put on the pad is something that is going to be pretty unique.
And the water system was pretty fun to see today too.
We have plenty of water at Wallops.
See,
we do.
yeah, right over there.
Yeah.
Where will Neutron be landing for that reusability part?
Yeah, so there's a barge that we've aptly named Return on Investment that's just off the coast, and the stage one goes through a suborbital ballistic arc, and we land back on that barge. The barge comes back in here, and we offload the Neutron vehicle, and it goes straight back on the pad.
Excellent, that's quick. And how often, once we get the launches start going, how often do you think we could get them here at
Yeah,
Wallops?
so we've been pretty transparent. We'll get one away, and then the next year we'll do 3, and then we'll do 5, and then we'll build up cadence. That's pretty much what we demonstrated with Electron, and we'll build cadence as quickly as we can.
Yeah, the only thing about Neutron, this is the home for it. Electron can go both spots.
That's
so
right.
this is
Yep,
it.
we can go southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, congratulations. Anything else you want to mention to me today?
No, I just want to thank everybody for all their support. From all of the senators and governors that have helped us along the way, the Rocket Lab team, all of the investors. Everybody makes these things happen.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
So that's the little interview. I wish it could have been a little bit longer, but there's a lot of people that wanted to talk to Sir Peter Beck. But he is again the CEO and founder of Rocket Lab. So thank you, Sir Peter Beck, for your time talking with me at Wallops. It's going to be an exciting program if we can get 3 launches a year in the next year and then 5 launches if they can increase that cadence. I'm interested to see that. One question I wished I had the chance to ask him, and I saw some of your questions online, is how do you get the rocket on top of the pad? Because it's pretty high up on where you have to lift that thing. So that's going to be one feat that they probably have figured out. It's just one of those things that, I should have asked that question. There's definitely a way to lift that rocket and put it onto the pad. From their facility where they're going to do the integration of it, putting it all together essentially, and then getting it over that area that just goes across and down the causeway to the spaceport. That bridge is being rebuilt. There's going to be a new bridge for there. So there's a lot of different things happening at the pad and the launch site, but Pad-0D, it was looking really healthy and looking really good, and it probably will be something that we might see happen and launch later on into this year. Now, we have seen other launches that have launched from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, and that has been the Electron rocket that launched at first in 2023. We've had a couple more launches since then. There's been some recent ones, mostly for classified customers, so there's not much in terms of broadcastability that we have, but they are the smaller Electron rocket. Remember, that was the one that was in diameter of 3 feet and 11 inches, 59 feet tall, versus the Neutron, which is 23 feet wide and 141 feet tall. So I'm going to show you that video of the first launch of the Electron that launched from the spaceport just a couple of years ago.
A beautiful night here. Yeah, it's cold outside, but there's no wind right now, and that's been a key thing. Yesterday, there was a lot of wind here, and they had to hold the launch till today. Last month in December, there was a lot of wind in the upper levels of the atmosphere near the jet stream. They had to hold the launch until today. So here we are tonight, about 2 miles behind me, and I'll let you get a clear view of that is the rocket. We're looking forward to a launch tonight from Rocket Lab. This is their second launch complex, Launch Complex 2. It's the first launch from U.S. soil. They've had 32 successful launches of this Electron vehicle. That's the type of rocket that they're using, the name of the rocket. And there it is right there.
Definitely a lot of fun to be able to watch for the inaugural launch of the Electron. Look at that thing go.
So far, a few seconds into that launch, it appears
you're going to hear me
be
talking a little bit. Let me just mute myself here because I don't want to compete with myself. But that was fun to see. Now, this was interesting because I learned something when I was doing this live shot. When I was listening to the feed, I was listening to the countdown from a source that's streaming over the web. There's a delay with that. So I was giving you those stats at the last second, and I'm still kicking myself over this. I was giving you those stats at the last second, even though the countdown went to 0, I didn't know it because I was listening to a delayed feed. Here's the view from one of our cameras. I believe this is from the Lynnhaven Inlet camera. You can see the rocket ascending there. So the Electron rocket is one you can see all across Hampton Roads. Even though it's a smaller rocket, at nighttime you can get those views. Daytime launches are hard to see from pretty much anywhere unless you're on the Eastern Shore, but nighttime that engine is certainly bright. Here's a view from Tower Cam 10. You can see that. So this was, I believe, at the beginning of our 6 o'clock newscast that day. I don't remember the time of when this launched, but we did have that live shot, which was really fun to do. It's fun to be able to show you these things during our newscast. The timing, of course, always doesn't work out. The weather has to be clear too. The upper level winds have to be appropriate. I think the video is starting to repeat itself right now. You can see how cold it was, but that's what I wanted to see. You wanted to have clear conditions. You wanted to have cold weather. I love going to Wallops and to the spaceport when it's cold outside for 2 reasons. One, it's clear, and also because it is bug-free. I don't like those mosquitoes coming after me, or the horseflies or whatever else can be flying around there. So that can be certainly something that can be cold. Now, one thing too, if hopefully the visitor center will be open as we go into the launch, the inaugural launch for the Neutron rocket. We'll give you the times, of course, for that. That'll be everywhere once that is announced. But when you are going there, and I assume since it is going to be the end of the year, or let's say it's just January or February, early into next year, highly recommend to wear the warmest clothes you have. So let's say the temperature's forecast to be 50, pretend the temperature's forecast to be 30. It gets really cold there because there's always a light breeze that comes off of the swamps and off of the water, and it can make it bone chilling how cold it can get into that spot. So that's one thing that I recommend if you are going to be wanting to check out the Neutron launch that would be happening later this year and into, or maybe early next year, and there'll be additional ones after that. Wear warm clothes because it can get cold. So Pad-0D, the 4th launch pad now that the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport has under their umbrella that they maintain, that they watch over, that they helped build and get all the things coordinated with Rocket Lab. Did a great job building that quickly. I want to show you the full interview now from Ted Mercer.
What does this new pad mean for the spaceport?
It means greater economic development and assured access to space for this country, fulfills our ability now to fully be a complete backup to Cape Canaveral. We now have the ability to launch small, medium, and large payloads to orbit.
And this is a Virginia spaceport. So how helpful is this for the community?
Oh, outstanding. Again, it's about economic development for the community. It's good, high-paying, quality, sustainable jobs. It's about bringing a supply chain that brings more jobs. It's about bringing manufacturing, which brings different kinds of jobs. All of that benefits the local community.
And also with this rocket being reusable, what changes do you see that could be happening in the spaceport in the future?
Well, I see others coming to want to try to do the same thing. It means that we have to determine and identify a landing place where they can return, because you don't want them to return at the same spot they launch, should they have a bad day. So you want to do that find another location to do that. So all of that is what's coming in terms of the Neutron and our other customers. Other customers are looking at that too, primarily because of what you heard Sir Peter Beck talk about, and that was the economics of it. Right? If you can bring it back and reuse it, great deal of cost avoidance there for the companies.
Anything else you want to mention to me about the new pad today, Pad-0D or the Launch Complex 3?
Yeah, they call it Launch Complex 3. It is designated Pad-0D on the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. The entire spaceport belongs to the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is a particular launch point for the Neutron rocket. We have Pad-0C, we have Pad-0B, which is right there. We have Pad-0A. And for the first time in history of any spaceport in the country, Pad-0A will be launching 2 different kinds of rockets from 2 different customers off the same pad. That's what we mean by multi-user.
And that's Firefly Aerospace and Northrop Grumman?
That is correct.
Perfect.
Northrop Grumman Antares and the Firefly Alpha will be launching from the same launch pad.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Good to see you again. What does this new pad mean for the spaceport?
All right, so that was really cool to see because now we know that we're going to have 2 customers or 2 different groups and 2 different rockets launching from the same pad. So that'll be more launches. That'll be happening soon. Maybe a landing spot for returning a rocket to the spaceport. Doesn't sound like we're going to be landing a rocket on the same pad. That probably not the expectation, but there could be another spot in that giant area that they have in terms of land where they could land a rocket back to the spaceport. So that's really exciting to hear that we could be getting that as well, because that's not just a view that you see the rocket go up, but you also get to see the rocket come back down. So we're going to show you just a little bit more on the special edition of Beyond the Forecast. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the special edition of Beyond the Forecast. I hope you enjoyed the extra stuff that I had for you here. The interviews weren't super long, but there was just a little bit more information about what's happening at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. Thanks again to Ted Mercer, and thanks again to Sir Peter Beck for talking with me. It was fun getting a chance to talk to both of you about the future of what's going to be happening at the spaceport, because I know there's more space geeks than just me that are out there that are looking forward to launches, because it's not just the rocket going up, it's about what the payload is inside, especially if it's related to science missions. That could be really exciting. We're going to spend the rest of this episode on cool things you can see in the night sky right now. So let's take a look at that. The view outside, if you look to the eastern sky in the morning, this time of year, you can see Jupiter and Venus. Now, in the morning, the moon might still be up. It could be setting by then, but the southwest sky, you'll see Saturn. So a couple of different things you can see in the night sky as we go through the next couple of weeks, but these are generally our planets and things that you can see in the morning sky. Venus being nice and bright, Jupiter right next to it, just above it to the up and to the right, kind of how it is oriented in this image right here. And then, of course, Saturn, which is a lot dimmer, but that's also in the southwestern sky in the morning. So how does all of this work? How do you set up the whole solar system to create this? So you have this view right here where you have the planets that are positioned all over the place. Earth would be to the right of the sun in this view, and then you'd have what was it? Jupiter, that would be up to the left. You have Saturn, that's to the right. You have Neptune, that's right behind Saturn. So you have a couple of different things. So when we are looking away from the sun, when it's nighttime, that's how we're able to see what we can see. You can see Venus also above the sun and just slightly to the left. So that's kind of how it all works. So if we were to look from Earth towards Saturn, we can see Saturn, and then way behind that is Neptune. You need a telescope to be able to see Neptune in the night sky. One final update, too, before we wrap up this episode, what's going on with Comet 3I Atlas. It's a very, very dim comet right now. It has a magnitude of 23.31, meaning that if you're the Hubble telescope, you can find it. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be able to see it with any telescope that you have that's consumer grade. The distance from Earth to the comet is 14.12 astronomical units. Remember, 1 AU, 1 astronomical unit, is the distance from the Earth to the sun, 93 million miles. So 14 of those is the distance from us to the comet, the interstellar comet, which is traveling very fast and is also very dim right now. The closest point to sun will be on October 29th. We won't be able to see it because the sun will be inconveniently in the way of the comet. So we're going to have to wait a little bit. Maybe in November, it'll start to get a little brighter. So I'll keep you updated on the comet. I'll keep you up to date definitely on what's going on with those launches from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. Thanks again for everyone for helping me out to get those extra interviews. It was fun seeing you that day. It was a fun day. We'll have another episode of Beyond the Forecast coming soon.